Hi, everyone. So for those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Joyce Choe, and I'm a physician. I'm an ophthalmologist in the Vancouver, Washington area in the Pacific Northwest. And I have a friend, her name is Mercy Ballard, and in 2016, I went to her lifestyle center at Years Restored, and where she was teaching people how to recover their health using diet and natural methods, like simple things, like natural remedies, and practicing better living habits. So I'd always been very interested in this subject. I'd been helping my patients do things like lose weight and stop smoking and get rid of addictive habits that they had, like drinking coffee and these types of things. But I had been seeing so many people who were having a lot of their own mysterious health conditions, and I had my own health issues as well, because one of the reasons being some of the dental work that I had done when I was younger, as well as the antibiotic that I was put on when I was in my 20s. It was an antibiotic called trovafloxacin. It was the latest and greatest antibiotic by Pfizer, and found out that it was tested on children in, I think it was Nigeria, and they were sued about that. Anyways, it caused a lot of liver failure and death. It was taken off the market within a year, and it left me with significant muscle weakness. And as the years progressed, I had more and more pain and weakness, and it just progressed until years later, when I took another few antibiotics, I ended up having some serious health concerns. And that started me on this journey of learning more about leaky gut, autoimmune disease, and this type of thing. And as I was going through that journey, I realized something. I realized that this medical system that I had trained under. And this was an understanding that I had even as I was going through my training. As I was going through my training, I knew that this medical system did not have all the answers. I had grown up as a Seventh-day Adventist. And for those of you who know Seventh-day Adventists, we're very interested in health. And so I had been reading a lot about what will contribute to good health and this type of thing. But I think that because I went through such training, I got, I was trying to put it all together, how to bring natural and conventional and bring it together in an integrative way. And so I, as I was going through my own journey with the progressive pain and weakness and these types of things, I just realized I don't have any help here in conventional medicine, because the nerve conduction studies are normal. There's nothing that anyone can do for me. And it seemed that people in alternative medicine, all that they had to offer me was, a healthy diet and this type of thing. And that wasn't helping me either. And there was a group of health practitioners that did seem to have some help, and they were functional medicine doctors. And I had some food sensitivity tests done, and I found out that I was sensitive to a lot of foods. And of course, because I hadn't really learned about these things, initially when I learned about it, I was very skeptical, as many of you probably are. But I had gotten to a point where I was so desperate, I thought, I will try this. And I found that I started feeling much better. Now, this led me to quite a bit of confusion because in this field of functional medicine, the theory is that we eat according to how we evolved. So we are trying to eat according to our physiologic makeup. And so the belief is that our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, because the belief is that we evolved and there's no such thing as creation. And so for me as a creationist, this introduced some issues because as I was looking this up, I was looking up online, I'd look up paleo diet. And there were people in forums online who were asking questions like, should Christians believe in paleo? Because paleo is based upon the philosophy that there is no creator God, and Christians believe in the Bible, which says that there is a creator God. And there are still Christians who believe that the Bible account of a 6-day creation is true, is literal, and that those 6 days, that you can't just say, oh, those days were just, figurative, and they represented maybe millions of years and that type of thing. And so there are some of us who still believe that this word of God, that it can be believed, that when God created this earth, he spoke it into existence in 6 days. So, as somebody who is in medicine, I really am interested to, observe. When I see people, I'm very interested in their history. I like to know, when did this start and what was this associated with? And if we do something, I like to observe to see what improved and what didn't. What else do we need to do? Very interested in that. And so, I would see written on the internet when people would say, should a Christian believe in paleo? People would say that there was no problem with a Christian believing in paleo, because they would say, it's one thing to have a spiritual belief and a spiritual practice, but this is science. And I thought, well, this really illustrates the confusion that there is in the world, the confusion that you can believe something that is magical. If you're talking about spiritual beliefs and saying, okay, I am going to believe that there is a creator God, but the science, the observation is that if we're supposed to eat according to science, then, and I'm going to now eat as if there was no creator God, as if I evolved, I just was not into that. I'm not into wasting my time on superstition. And so I really thought, as far as this life is concerned, for me, I've gotten to a point in my life where I really think that you have to put your money where your mouth is, and if you believe something, you should live in accordance to it. And if I believe that there is a creator God, then I should live in accordance to those principles, no matter what. And I really believe that if it is true that there is a creator God and he created us according to certain laws, that science, which is the observation of life and how things work, that science should agree and should follow. And we all know, we all have seen that when it comes to science, you can always find research. You can always find science that will validate or invalidate your whatever it is that you're interested in. Like coffee, for instance, and alcohol. There is research that people will look to that will either, invalidate or validate whatever it is that you're interested in. I am stretching it a little bit. I'm not saying that for everything, but I'm just saying that for a lot of things, it can be very confusing to know what is the true science. And I think it's the same thing, as I've been in this area now of leaky gut and eating for health and this type of thing. You can see that, different alternative healthcare practitioners, they all have their differences as far as, the little details, the little nuances and how to tweak things. And, for some people, it may not make that big of a difference. For me personally, I think those little things can make a huge difference. For instance, if you listen to some people who believe in the evolutionary paradigm, they'll say, the thing for those of us who, believe in this evolutionary paradigm, they don't say that, but they say, we evolved and those who were the fittest survived, and those who were the fittest needed to be able to adapt. And so, one healthcare practitioner, he believes that it's good to eat your meals at different times of day, because if you do that, then it teaches your body to adapt and to get used to things being inconsistent and not constant. Now, that's according to a paradigm that people in science believe is real: evolution, adaptation, survival of the fittest. But if you look at the Bible, in Ecclesiastes, it tells us that there is a time for everything. Yeah. And if you look at our physiology, you'll find that every cell that we have has genes for regularity, for guiding regularity. They're called clock genes. And you'll find that these clock genes are set. You know how it is that you set your clock, where you used to set your clock, you used to wind it up every day, and you have to set it, you have to reset it every day, otherwise it'll die. You don't want it to die, right? They find that the major clock genes that set everything, they're set by the light, these circadian rhythms, 24-hour rhythms. But then there are other clock genes in other parts of the body that are set by other things, by other habits. And some of these habits have to do with the times that you eat. And so if you are eating at different times every day, you're going to be setting the clock wrong, or at different times for different organs. And then what they found is that when these clocks get desynchronized, when they get out of when they're not functioning together, when they get all confused, that this leads to loss of life, death, disease, dysfunction. So you can see, science is not just made up of little pieces of data that you just try to put here and there and fit into whatever box. Science has to be, the data has to be hung on and organized in a fashion that is determined by a paradigm that is true for it to make sense, or for it to be able to help you in the most optimal way. And so what is the paradigm that you are going to hang all this information on? Is it going to be that you evolved, and so you should eat according to that evolution? And so according to this philosophy, you eat meat, you don't eat things that are grown in a agricultural type of way, because according to this philosophy, if you take it to the extreme, agriculture was the worst mistake humans ever made. Yeah, according to this philosophy. Yeah, it's unhealthy to eat farmed foods. And so that's why we don't eat beans, and we don't eat grains and this type of thing. We just eat meat and vegetables and some seeds and maybe some fruits and whatever it is that we could pick up, because we were hunters and gatherers. According to the creation philosophy, mankind was put into a beautiful garden that we were created to help nurture and to love and to grow and take care of. We were put into a garden where we were supposed to take care of all living things. We were to be the stewards of life on this earth. And according to this, we were supposed to eat plant foods. Nothing was supposed to die. It's only because, sin came into the world and we did not have other options to live year round that animal food was introduced into the diet. So you can see that there's going to be major differences in how health is achieved. Now, you can achieve different levels of health with these different paradigms. And you can see that some people they say that they can only live on an all meat diet called the carnivore diet, But you will find out, I believe, that the best health comes when you adopt the most accurate paradigm. And that only makes sense, I think. So I just want to share with you, this journey that we've been on. Because of this journey, because of the confusion that we saw, we decided to write a cookbook. I wish I had it here with you, but I wasn't really planning on doing this. This is kind of a last minute thing. But we wrote a cookbook called the Autoimmune Plant-Based Cookbook. You can get it at wholenessmarket.com, wholenessmarket.com. You can also get it at Amazon. But if you get it at wholenessmarket.com, we do better than if you get it at Amazon. Now, we wrote that book 2019, I think we published it. And now we're going to translate it into Spanish. And we'll get another edition out. What we found out is that since writing that cookbook, a lot of people are so inflamed that they are sensitive to nightshades as well. So our next cookbook won't have nightshades in it. But the other thing that we did to help people, clear up this confusion, because there are a lot of people who are eating plant-based and they're still not getting the health that they want. And they're wondering why. Now it's not just eating plant-based that we need to look at. We need to look at the chemicals that are in the plants that we are eating, and the agricultural practices. What was the quality of the soil that these foods were planted in? All of these things make a difference for our health. And so we have an online course. It is called the Autoimmune Recovery Plan. You can go to autoimmunerecoveryplan.com, learn more information about that. And that just has we have videos about the science behind this, why we do what we do, why it is that we need to be so consistent. Some people are like, I've been really good for a couple of weeks. I feel so much better. And now I'm going to go celebrate. And they go celebrate with the foods that made them sick in the first place. And so we teach people about these principles. We have videos on how to make all these foods that are in the cookbook. And in that cookbook is a 7-day meal plan. So we have videos on how to make those recipes in the 7-day meal plan. And then what happened is that about a year ago, we decided that, in response to a lot of people within our church community saying, hey, we don't know what to do to help people who are getting sick. And we ourselves need help getting our own health back. And so we thought, okay, we will use this plan to help people in the church learn information to help themselves. But the focus is going to be on helping other people. So it's a lot of similar information with a different focus, a different energy. We're there every Sunday morning for 6 weeks to teach people about these concepts, but it's for the focus of helping other people. And that's at medmissionary.com. So we have 2 online courses. The first is the autoimmune recovery plan. The second is medmissionary.com. And they're very similar as far as the content, but Med Missionary is a course that is time restricted, and it has the focus of you learning these principles to help other people. And I feel like it gives you a little bit more energy. You know how it is when you feel like you need to do something to help somebody else, it actually saves you in the end. That's the way that we have set this up. And I hope that this information is helpful for you. You know, we have a Facebook group called Med Missionary on Facebook. And within that group, a lot of people are asking questions like, what can I do for rheumatoid arthritis? What can I do for lupus? What can I do for whatever autoimmune condition that people are experiencing, chronic disease? And I always have to stress, the most important thing that you can do is to decrease the sources of inflammation that you are getting into the body. And most people are getting a lot of sources of inflammation into the body each and every day, multiple times a day, in the form of the food that they eat. And so it's super important that we learn how to avoid those sources of inflammation, and then give the body the nutrition that it needs in the form that it would best be served by. And that's what we try to do. If you look at our YouTube channel, you'll see that we do have some testimonies here, people who have either done the course or learned the principles from a friend or that type of thing. And some of the amazing stories. One lady, if you look at her story from the Philippines, she had a 6-point-something centimeter fibroid that she was going to need surgery for. And her friend who had taken the course guided her through these principles. And within months, when she went back to see her doctor, her fibroid was only around 2 and some centimeters, and her doctor told her she no longer needed to have surgery. You know, another lady had a father who had a heart condition that was so severe that he could hardly walk without losing, his breath. And, he has recovered his health. And we have another testimony of someone with myasthenia gravis. We had a lot more videos and testimonies before, but our former channel was removed from YouTube for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, because some of the videos that we had, as I look at them, they're not, I mean, compared to what I see that's allowed on YouTube, they're nothing that's super inflammatory or anything like that. Some of them were just about how to eat to optimize your immune system and make it through COVID. But in any case, it is what it is. And we are here now. And so I hope that you will continue to share this information, share this channel so that we can get that information out to more people. And if you know people who would benefit from this information, that you would share this with them. And yeah, we would very much appreciate it. We're going to start our next Med Missionary class September 18. September 18 is when we start our next Med Missionary class. And you can sign up now. You can get access to the information there, so you can start early on it. And I think that you're going to enjoy it. A lot of people say that they so much appreciate the information. People have lost weight on it. People have gotten their health back on it, improved their even things like allergies and that kind of thing. And so if you're just looking for another tool to put into your repertoire of things that are going to boost your health, I would highly recommend it. Okay, so if you can go to medmissionary.com to sign up, or if you think that autoimmune recovery plan would better meet your needs, you can sign up there. And for those of you who are interested, we do have a new website that's going to be coming out hopefully in the next month or so. It's called Wholeness for Life, and it's going to be about Bible secrets for health and happiness. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your support of things that we are doing here. And we hope to see you there in the class.